Hey everybody, can you hear me okay? Jim Hart here. I thought I would go live a little bit later today than normal. Normally I go in the morning, but I had some meetings this morning and was busy with a lot of stuff, and then I got sidetracked by something that was going on around noon. I'm not quite sure what. Not going to get political here. It's been a tough day, but not going to get political. Anyway, what I wanted to talk to you about today was why estate planning is something that you should think about in 2017. And I put some notes here. I actually just put up a post about this, and I thought I would just share that with you a little bit. I'm not going to read it word for word. That would be kind of stupid. But I thought I'd go through some of the main takeaways of what I wrote on this post today. And really, the idea here, excuse me, is that what is it about estate planning? Why is it so important? And the reason that this was on the top of my mind today was because I, excuse me, maybe I shouldn't have just drank that coffee. I don't know. What's going on with this thing? I'm not quite sure here. I don't know. Maybe it's just stuck there. I don't know. Anyway, is I had a great meeting today with a client who I've been working on his estate plan since I guess November, and we finally finished it up today. And that's about right. That's about the process. That's how long it takes, is about 8 to 10 weeks to get everything done in my office. I know a lot of attorneys that take a lot longer than that for various reasons. But for me, we were able to get it done, and I was able to deliver the plan to him today in just about 8 weeks or so. And he is one of my favorite clients. And one of the things we were able to do today that I really enjoy doing with my clients is we did his legacy conversation. And the legacy conversation is basically a chance for him to talk with me, and we use I'm not going to get it because it's way over there, but use a big microphone and basically talk for 20, 25, 30 minutes about his values and what he holds important to him and what it was like growing up for him and his parents and where he came from. And it's great because not only is that an opportunity to share these stories with your kids or your loved ones once you're gone, but it's also a great opportunity for me to get to know my clients. So I love doing those conversations, and that was really wonderful. But anyway, the five benefits. Why is estate planning so important? The reason why there's five main reasons. There's a ton of reasons why estate planning is important, but I was able to put together five reasons, and I'm just going to kind of go through them really quickly. Without taking too long here. But the first reason is really to avoid a financial and emotional mess for your loved ones. You know, as many of you know, my mother passed away over a year ago now, and she had an estate plan in place, but and thank God she did, I will say that. But if she hadn't had an estate plan in place, it would have been just an absolute mess for my brother and sister and I to deal with everything and to try and figure out, what she wanted, where she wanted things to go. It would have been quite literally a just an absolute mess for us to deal with. And so that's a big reason why people do an estate plan, is they want to avoid as much as possible any type of mess or disagreements or hardships for their family members who they leave behind. And so that's the first reason. The second reason is to protect your minor beneficiaries. So if you have children and you want to leave money to them, if you don't have an estate plan in place and you just leave money to them as minors, unless you've done something else somewhere in your will or something, the court in North Carolina is going to have to monitor those funds. They're going to have to keep track of those funds. Somebody's going to have to account to the court about how that money is being spent. And so that's really, really an important reason. If you have minor children and you don't have an estate plan, that's a big reason why you should have an estate plan, to make sure the court does not have to, is not going to be, have to oversee and see what's going on with that money. That's also expensive because whoever's doing that is going to need to be paid, and typically that's somebody the court's going to choose. The third reason is to protect your beneficiaries from unforeseen creditors. So what you can do is if you have money through a life insurance policy or whatever that you're going to be giving, I mean, for example, I have a sizable life insurance policy on me, and so does my wife, and if something were to happen to one of us and we did not have an estate plan in place and that money went directly to our children, and let's say they were older at this point, if they had creditors, if they had big credit card bills, or one of them got married and it didn't work out and they were going through a divorce, that money could be lost. And so one of the things your estate plan can do is actually protect. It can provide a level of asset protection to your heirs, as well as to you as well. And so that's another really, really wonderful thing that estate planning can do. Let's see. And another reason, and this is was especially important for this client today, is if you are going through a divorce situation and I said that wrong, is if you are married and you leave money to your spouse. Typically what happens is all the money goes to the other spouse, and let's say you have children, and now you have a widow or a widower on the other side, and let's say they decide to get remarried. If they don't do some additional planning and you don't have a better plan in place, then if something were to happen to them, that money could actually be lost to their new spouse. If something were to happen to them, let's say they passed on, they predeceased their new spouse, that money could be lost and it may never actually end up going to your children, which is who you really want it to go to. So if you want the money to stay in the family, that's another good reason to do estate planning. And then the final reason, which is typically at the top of most lists of why people do estate planning, and I put it at the bottom here because I think that there's people like the benefits of this reason, but they don't necessarily understand what it means. But that is to avoid probate. And the two main benefits to avoiding probate are it can take a long time and it can be expensive. The two main drawbacks of probate are it can take a long time, it's expensive, and it's a public situation. So if you go through probate, then all your assets are open to the public because everything's going to get filed with the probate court. And so people want to avoid that. And that's another main reason why people will put a plan together, is because you can put a plan in place that will actually avoid having all your things go through the probate court. So that's the last reason. So I guess my question for you is, why is estate planning important to you? If you do have a plan, why do you do it? If you don't have a plan, do any of these reasons really resonate for you for why you think that you should have a plan in place? For me, personally, it's the probate issue, to avoid they're all important to me. The unforeseen creditors, not such a big deal. My kids are really young. It's not a big deal to me at this point, but to protect them as minors, I definitely would want to have a plan in place. And clearly I do, as an estate planning attorney, I do have a plan in place. And so we've protected our children against all these issues. And so they're important to us. So once again, the 5 reasons are to avoid a financial and emotional mess, which is just the biggest one if you don't have a plan in place. Number 2, to protect your minor beneficiaries. Number 3, to protect beneficiaries from unforeseen creditors. That could be a spouse that divorces one of your children someday, or it could be a credit card company, or it could be somebody that hit on the street and they get sued in a personal injury lawsuit. Number 4, to make sure that your money stays in the family. And finally, the 5th reason is obviously to avoid the cost and publicity of probate. So feel free to comment below. Let me know why estate planning is important to you. If you have any questions, comment below. Let me know. I'd love to engage with you and do anything I can to help you out and keep you informed about these topics. So I'll be back again next week with more live videos, and hope you have a great weekend, folks. Let's move forward as a country, especially after everything that happened today. So talk again on Monday. Take care. Have a good one. Bye, guys.